Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program Spiritism Inspiring Lives. Today's reflections, brief reflections, will be focused on the theme Accept People. We start our process thinking about as immortal beings, as spirits, as we all are, while incarnate, three-dimensional beings, that is, a spirit, perispirit, or the astral body and the physical body. And here we are invited all to look within ourselves so that we can freely choose to expand our self-awareness, understanding who we are from a more holistic perspective, beyond the physicality. In other words, from a transpersonal perspective. Who I am. What is my way in general to relate with others? And what do other people mean to me? When we just take the topic here, accept people. Question, is it easy for me, for all of us, to accept other people as they are? Bring the focus back to our biological family, which is the first society where we reincarnate once we come back to Earth through the law of reincarnation. We have one life and many, many different existences. So we have a lot of people that we already in the past related with, and even in this existence. In order to help in our reflections, we go and ask the help of the spiritual benefactor, Joana de Angelis, in her book, Happy Life. And she's helping our reflections by saying, and I quote, accept people as they present themselves to you. So again, it's fundamental to develop acceptance of the different and the differences. It is quite challenging for us, but not impossible. It is challenging because we are in a loving way addressing ourselves and focusing on ourselves. And as more as we do this reflective process, we will end up understanding as immortal beings as we all are. We had already many, many different existences. And we bring habits, conditionings, ways of being that sometimes are not based on the self, on the sacred, on the divine within us, but it may be based and rooted within personalism, within the ego state of mind. And through the law of reincarnation, the purpose for us to come together in a biological family, it is to help each other to evolve towards forgiveness, towards accepting our differences, helping us to renew our new ways of thinking, of understanding the experiences from a transpersonal psychological perspective, which the Spiritism presents us so wisely, is so relevant and so consoling, I would say, to understand that we are all brothers and sisters in humanity within our biological family and even beyond that. And that the different positions that we temporarily occupy, they are there as methods to help each other. So the major focus needs to be within ourselves. So when we realize that we may have difficulty in accepting others within the biological family, the invitation is to journey within, to connect with our inner wisdom and find the causes that we may be facing within ourselves. Usually it can be rigidity, because we end up projecting our own shortcomings. Once we turn the mirror back to us as learners of ourselves, we can work on it, we can overcome it. Acceptance does not mean validating the shortcomings of other people or shadows of other people. Acceptance comes from an element of internal wisdom where it's almost like expand our consciousness and come to understand that every human being is a unique being in the universe and is in a unique level of development. And acceptance means also to develop the ability to give the right to others to be where they are. And again, it's important to understand, give the right does not mean validating shortcomings or shadows. It's just increasing our understanding through self-love and compassion towards others, that in reality, everyone is giving the best that they can. but we will be focusing more on us in a sense to override our old tendencies, which perhaps may be fulfilled with prejudice and so on and so forth. And then if you move on, it's still with Jonah Judges, and I quote, "This arrogant person who displeases you is sick, and perhaps he doesn't know it." Again, sometimes we may be quite critical about others. We may find other people arrogant, and we complain, we gossip and slander about them, and we carry on round and round with this toxic mentality. That is not good for us, because the way that we think is the way that we talk to ourselves and therefore with others. And he is one of the angels, these enlightened spirits, the spirit who is bringing light into our own shadows, at least helping us to consider these reflections, saying this person is sick and perhaps doesn't know it. But it's not only those around us where we are related to, could also be ourselves. When we are presenting ourselves in an arrogant way, when we think that we are better than others, which again, that already better on the ego state of mind is a false perception. When we are really better than somebody else, first, we will not have any shadows to project onto them. We also will not have the tendency to criticize them anymore, because we are overriding our own shadows in making new choices. So when we understand from a holistic perspective that we are all beings in evolution, essentially beings of love, and also seeing the other, it requires efforts that we develop that inner picture in ourselves and in others, that also others are also trying the best. So when we overcome our own rigidity, our own negativity, on our own criticism that we bring within ourselves, which also is, the cause is lack of self-love, inferior complex, lack of confidence, lack of self-worth, we will embrace those limitations, but also put the effort into to overcome them. Because essentially we are all loving beings. That is fundamental. And not criticizing others because they may know less than we do, because the one who knows more mentally and emotionally than somebody else is never someone who will be criticizing others or will be slandering about other people. The one who already enlightened himself more can see the sickness of others, but is always there in a loving way, in a compassionate way, and willing to help, sometimes through silence, or sometimes even using prayer, which is very important. Moving forward in our reflections, Joanna says, I quote, "This uncooperative fellow is unhappy in himself or herself." Uncooperative. We can also think about ourselves, accept people. I'm becoming more flexible, more adaptable within the different differences. Is it easier for me to cooperate in any scenario where the universe presents me to be as a learner of myself? Or do I think that I'm doing a lot and other people don't do? I am complaining. Or may I be in a position that I think that I don't need to do much? Sorry, that other people are entitled to do things, that I may learn by magic, and that will not happen. So we think in this way. The one who is happy is already promoting themselves in become a more tolerant, more patient, more forgiving, more fraternal. We all can develop that. Moving forward, that demanding acquaintance suffers from nerves. The team is accepting people. Sometimes we may be the one who is demanding, may be suffering from our nerves. Or we may see that other people may be in that situation. If we focus within, and we can see that, and we are focused on our own healing, on our own enlightening process, we can use our own breathing exercise to calm ourselves down. We can choose to change our thought or belief system, always based on our goal or aim, which is to love ourselves a bit more, to center, to be willing to be good with ourselves and with others. We can expand these holistic elements within ourselves. Because the biological body is the extension of the perispirit, which is the spiritual body, which is commanded by the spirit. We can calm our nerves. We can learn to be more balanced using our own minds, choosing to think in a more rational way. Rational thinking is based on facts, not interpretations. And moving forward, still, Joanna says, I quote, "Some who seem proud are just carriers of conflicts that they try to hide. Accept people is our reflection today. Sometimes we could be the pride one. We may be dealing with our own inner conflicts, which we are hiding. Pride is usually hand in hand with selfishness. But that those references or those habits we need to challenge so that we enlighten ourselves more in terms of comprehending these limitations that we bring within and also the false attitudes. As more as we heal ourselves, as more as we accept our own journey, not only in this existence, but the conditions that we bring from previous existences, and are willing to carry on promoting ourselves in the present, then we will develop humbleness. Charity. Charity is translated in actions, in steps of self-love and love towards any other human being. So we don't need to hide our own shadows. Neither consciously we choose to reinforce them. We are choosing to condition ourselves with new references. Accept others. Joanna carries on, and I quote, "Others who appear indifferent experience terrible fears." There is such a short reflection, but within such a deep meaning. Appear indifferent. We again accept people. It starts within accepting myself as a valuable human being, imperfect, perfecting myself, so that I can also extend that observation in relation to others. When we are becoming more aware of our own indifference, which usually is pride and selfishness, it's almost like we are shut down emotionally for one reason or another, that we haven't learned self-love, self-respect, cooperating for the good of all. Then we are full of fears, because the choices, especially in the past, where we have been much more ignorant, spiritually speaking, we used our free will and we commit a lot of mistakes, which today present themselves through our own inhibitions, limitations, that once we choose to daily put some effort into an exercise self-awareness, we become more aware. And therefore, we also will, it's almost like transcend our own indifference. Now, developing fraternity, brotherhood, cooperation for the good of all, wherever we are, being in our family, biological family, being in our universal family. Because on the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters in humanity, from the perspective of spirituality. And then Joanna carries on, I quote, "The earth is a great hospital for souls." I find it so deep and profound. Accept people. No one comes back to the school earth because we believe in reincarnation. We don't come back once more through a new physical body because we are healed or we are perfect. Well, on the contrary, we are all ill souls. In different levels, it's true, dealing with different ills of the souls, but we all have them. So earth is the hospital. It's where we are placed in the right place with the right people for the right learning, for the right medication of the soul to heal ourselves. Accept people is today's theme. We go back what we referred previously. How do I feel in the hospital, earth where I am, within my biological family? What are the ills of my soul that I came to heal? And how do I feel in relation to the ills of the other souls who are with me on the same journey of progress, evolution? Does it bother me? Or did we already promote ourselves beyond our own shadows so that when we are in connection with other people's shadows, within the family setting, within the workplace, within the community where we are inserted, or are we already beyond? Meaning, have we already put effort into to heal ourselves so that we are or became more humble, more forgiving, more flexible? We are more at ease to adjust ourselves quicker once we notice our own limitations. Therefore, increasing our ability to accept other people as they are, bringing down to zero our own expectations when they are false, because that creates a lot of imbalances, a lot of negativity within ourselves. It's fundamental, I would suggest, on a daily basis to think about and integrate within our way of being that people are as they are. We are who we are with the goal to be better day by day, but accepting others. Accepting does not mean validating the shortcomings, the shadows of other people. It means giving them the right to be the best that they can and us to go beyond where we are, because we have the free will and we can always on a daily basis a bit more to heal ourselves further. Then we carry on by Joanna. Anyone who only sees you superficially will not be able to analyze you accurately. What is the benefactor helping us here? Anyone who sees us superficially is the same for us in relation to others. If we know others superficially, we are not capable of understanding in a deeper way that human being, that other person. So, in order for us to become more connected with ourselves, there is the need to carry on expanding self-awareness, to listen who we are in terms of our strengths, in terms of our weak points, in terms of our shadows, in terms of efforts that we put into to overcome them so that we gradually can override our unconscious memories in relation to our eventual negative belief systems, limited belief systems, because we choose to promote and develop new ones. For instance, that we are all capable of learning to think in new ways, embracing the daily exercise, for example, to affirm to ourselves that we are essentially valuable human beings, that we are loved by the greatest love of all in the universe, which is God. Those are belief systems. Once they are nourished, repeated, and practiced over and over again, we are conditioning ourselves with these new ways of thinking, which are rooted in the divine truth that we bring within ourselves and impacting us directly in more flexibility, adaptability, relating with the differences with more love, with more compassion, with more forgiveness. especially on the family level where we start always our journey. Carrying on, I quote, grant freedom for everyone to be as they are and not as you want them to be, says the Enlightened Spirit, Joanna de Angelis. Grant freedom. It requires effort for us to mature ourselves, and we all are on this journey. What differs is how much effort we put into, how much willingness we are capable of allowing ourselves to think twice. It's almost like flexibilizing the muscles on the moral aspect, on the moral dimension within ourselves. Let people be, but let's us choose us to be different, better than we are. That makes the whole difference, because quite often when we are directed or guided by our own inner shadows, shortcomings, limitations, difficulty in relating with others, then we have imprinted in our unconscious memories quite often, pictures according to our inner darkness. And when we choose now to change these inner pictures, perceptions, we will notice that we become lighter. It's more easier to relate with others. It becomes easier to be more adaptable with the differences. And surely, here and there, every one of us will have the need also to learn to position ourselves. But position is different than imposing ourselves. Positioning ourselves from the self level all onwards is learning to develop discernment, is learning to develop assertiveness. But when we are identified with the ego state of mind, we quite often want to impose ourselves, and we become quite critical of other people. We think that people may or should see the experiences according to our inner lenses, and that will never happen. Why not? Because we are unique beings in the universe. When we say in psychology, learn to be independent psychologically and emotionally, that is exactly what we learn within spirituality. Learn to be yourself, not superior, inferior. Learn to listen to your gut feelings. Connect with the divine within yourself. Find the higher resources within and choose to stimulate them on a daily basis. How can I stimulate that on a daily basis? Someone may ask. Within the people that we relate on a daily basis, starting within the members of our biological family, within our work environment, within any environment on a social level in our communities where we are part of. Always observe, others may be the mirrors of ourselves. Accepting people is the great challenge of maturing ourselves as immortal beings as we are. In other words, it is an invitation from the enlightened beings, our dear friends who are helping us also to evolve by saying, you are capable of renewing yourself. You are capable of loving yourself a bit more. You are capable of learning to think in new ways that perhaps you never thought before. For instance, within the biological family, we have the different temporary positions, mom, dad, siblings, and so on and so forth. But when we connect within ourselves as immortal beings, souls in evolution, accepting more our own journey of evolution, spiritually speaking, we may develop the ability to see them beyond the transitory position, but see them as brothers and sisters in humanity, which we are here practicing acceptance. We already choose in the spiritual world to come back and harmonize ourselves with ourselves in relation to those spirits who are part of our biological family, first of all, and secondary, those around the biological family, as I mentioned, on the social level, professional level. Nothing happens by chance. People do not cross our roads. We do not cross other people's roads for nothing. There is a purpose. There is a divine purpose behind that, for us to learn to expand self-love, for us to learn to become more flexible, more forgiving, increase our patience, tolerance, brotherhood, fraternity, solidarity. And in that way, consciously or not, we are actually stimulating high self-esteem, inner confidence, inner security. We are increasing, it's almost like the real happiness, although there are challenges, but on the soul level, we are relatively okay because we are following the inner wisdom, which is demanding from all of us. Love, forgive, cooperate for the goods of all, and go on in life without demanding that people may be following you, that people may be perceiving life and experiences according to your inner experiences. In that way, we have a lot to think in these short reflections that I presented here today. Accepting people, dear friends, it is an invitation for us to learn, to understand that we are part for a greater community, incarnates and disincarnates. And we are here in the hospital earth to increase our family members through harmonizing ourselves with those that perhaps we may have challenges within ourselves. When we choose brotherhood as our goal and allowing others to be as they are and accepting, and I repeat again, learning to accept others does not mean that we are validating their shortcomings. It goes beyond. It goes beyond. It goes beyond within the inner dimension of self-love that we can relate with others through their imperfections. When we heal our own, we are all capable. Essentially, we are all beings of love. Therefore, investing in accepting people is a proposal or a method of self-healing in this existence and in the next existences. Because as more tolerant we become, as more fraternal we become, as more adult, spiritually speaking, we become, we will no longer fight with each other. We will no longer have the sense that we are superior than others. Because we do understand from the soul level, almost especially from the heart, the center of our existence is love. We do understand that the superior one, or the one that is better than the other, is the one who is stronger in the ability of forgiving others, who has the strength to carry on cooperating for the good of all, despite of the shortcomings of others. Because we do understand that is the method that the universe presents to each one of us. When the shadows of others is perceived by us, is our great opportunity to enlighten our own shadows and expand, developing inner harmony, and also within those that we live temporarily on earth or beyond, because no one will die. We will carry on connected with each other. So the best way is to choose to be connected towards goodness. They're real values that last forever. And in that way, we are healing our physical body, we are healing our minds, we are healing our emotional dimension, we are healing ourselves as a spirit. And in that way, it is pleasurable to relate with each other, to cooperate with each other, because the soul as we are feels fulfilled in behaving like that. So here we come to the end today. I wish and I hope that these brief reflections can nourish our souls. And I hope to see you soon in another occasion. Wish you well, much peace. See you soon. Bye-bye.